Welcome to 4.1 Sequent Notes Part 2 on the recursive rule, which should be on page 4 of your notes, where it says generating sequences using a recursive rule. The recursive rule is an equation that defines the nth term by relating it to one or more of the previous terms. This is on page 4 of your notes. The first example that they have here is they ask you to find the first 5 terms of the sequence using the recursive rule. And just like any rule or equation or function, we always want to create an n f of n chart. Okay. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and use red to represent my n's here. So it says they want us to find the first 5 terms of the sequence. So I'm going to go ahead and just write the first term. And the first term is written as f of 1. Well, look at that. Didn't they already tell us what f of 1 is? F of 1 is 2. So they've already told us that the first number in this pattern is 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. The first number of this pattern is 2. We did not need to use the equation at all because this lets us know that the first term is 2. So the first number in the sequence is 2. We don't have to look for it. That's where we're going to start. Then we're going to go ahead and now look for our second term. And this is where we're going to plug in our information here. Now notice everywhere there's an n, I'm going to replace it with the number that's being replaced. So it's going to be 2. I'm going to plug a 2 here, 2 here. Now, this is saying the second term. Now, this is going to say f of 2 minus 1, which really means don't confuse these two. They're two separate things. This is saying the second term is equal to f of 2 minus 1 plus 3. Well, this says take the second term and subtract, take 2 and subtract 1, which gives you 1. Then you're left with the first term. Well, what is the first term? The first term was up here. The first term says that it was a 2. So I'm going to use that 2 here. And so the first term is 2. So I can replace f of 1 with 2 and just add 3, which would equal 5. And then I'm going to go ahead and find my third term by doing the same thing. I'm going to leave spaces. And remember that everywhere there's an n, you're going to go ahead and replace it with 3. So my third term, well, here it's f of 3 minus 1 is 3 minus 1 is really f of 2 plus 3. Well, the second term was, the second term here, if I look back at the top here, the second term was equal to 5. So I'm going to take 5, replace this f of 2 here with 5, and add 3, and end up with 8. So my second term was 5. Now my third term is 8. I'm going to find my fourth term, and of course I always run out of space, so I'll do it again. I'm going to find the fourth term, and let's see here. My fourth term, I take f of 4 is equal to f of n minus 1 plus 3. So I'm going to replace this with my fourth term, and I see that f of 4 minus 1 really becomes f of 3, because 4 minus 1 is 3. And I look back here and I realize that my third term is 8, so I can replace this with 8 and add 3. And 8 plus 3 is 11. So my last term in this sequence, or my fourth term in this sequence is 11. And that's it. Now turn to page 5 and try this in your notes. Notice that this is read as the first term is 4 and this is the function rule or sequence rule we'll be using. So again, I'm always going to start with my chart, and I like to use this already because it's written. I'm going to replace my n. Now, I know what the first term is. They already gave it to me, so I'm not going to even plug it into the function. I'm just going to say that f of 1 equals 4 because it told me right here. So that's our first term. Go ahead and find our second term now. I'm going to put in my second term. I'm going to write f of n equals f of n minus 1 plus 5. Go ahead and replace all those values. And notice that this becomes f, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So this says the first term plus 5. Well, go back and take a look. Our first term was 4. So I'm going to change this f of 1 to 4 and make it 4 plus 5, which is 9. Then I'm going to find my third term, doing the same steps. So I'm going to replace this with 3's. So now my third term is equal to f of 3 minus 1. So that's going to become f of 3 minus 1 is 2. So that says the second term plus 5. Well, we already have our second term here. Our second term was equal to 9. So I'm going to replace the second term with 9 and add 5, which gives me 14. And then I'm going to go ahead and find my fourth term here. And I'm going to take f, oops. I'm going to take another chart here, oops. I'm trying to change this pen color. So I'm going to find my fourth term. Go ahead and plug in my 4's. So now this becomes f of 3, which is the third term, plus 5. So go back and take a look at what was our third term. Our third term was equal to, was equal to 14. So we'll take 14 plus 5, which gives us 19. So let's go ahead and put this all together in a sequence form in our pattern here. So we start with the first term being 4, our second term being 9, our third term was 14, and our fourth term was 19 in the sequence. So as you can see, go ahead and finish the next it's not that hard, you just have to be able to read it, and keeping in mind that how to read the first term here is 4, the second term here is 9, the third term is 14, and the fourth term is 19. And that's it. Now on page 6, complete 10 and 11 using the recursive rule. Please make sure you check your answers with the teacher before moving on with the worksheet. And that's it. That's your review on the recursive rule.